From across Maryland, Virginia, and the District, this is Washington's 24-hour local news leader. News Channel 8's Live This Morning starts right now.
All right, coming up, find out how you can pump up your memory with a few simple tricks.
Sounds good. Always need that. Also, if you want more, just follow us on Twitter, and we'll be right back. All right, tick-tock, tick-tock, we are all getting older, and while we can't turn back the clock, we can do a few things to stay mentally sharp. Val Jones is the CEO of Better Health, and she's here with some tips for us that can help us to stay mentally sharp. Good to have you here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So is it true that we have to admit that as we age, mental acuity declines?
I'm afraid it's sort of like physical strength. Over time we do lose muscle mass, and over time we do lose memory. So if we live long enough, all of us would have dementia eventually. But there are some things that we can do to keep from having that happen early. And
well, that's positive thinking, right?
So that's positive thinking.
When do we have to start?
Now would be good.
Sooner the better.
That's right. So, you know, physical activity is actually very important for mental health, and it's not necessarily intuitive, but it really helps with blood flow through the brain, and when you're physically fit, your blood vessels are actually fit too. So it's better for oxygenation, and so that's really important. Even
gotta get that oxygen up there to the brain to get the brain cells firing.
You know,
right?
every pump of the heart, 20% of that blood goes to your brain. So your brain takes up a lot of blood, actually.
Wow. Well, at what age do we normally see a decline?
No, that's hard to say. It really depends on the person. You know, things like their education level, what their baseline IQ might be, if they have any genetic disorders or any particular diseases that might affect their blood vessels to their brains. It's super hard to
well,
say.
You know, some women who go through menopause experience forgetfulness. It's one of the signs.
That's true. That's true.
So it could start in maybe midlife.
It could start in midlife. That's right. Yeah. So along with
better start. What can we do? What can we do to turn things around? You know.
So along with the physical activity, what we've learned actually through science is that we do have stem cells in our brain that can produce new brain cells. We used to think that there was no way you know, born with a certain number of neurons and that's it, you know, and they slowly decline. But actually there are these stem cells that can be triggered to produce new brain cells if you do something you've never done before. Something new. It doesn't matter what. You could be sea kayaking, you know, something that stimulates your mind in a way that you know, aren't used to. So it's important for people to think about, you know, engaging themselves in any kind of mental and physical activity, especially if they've never done it before.
Trying to get your brain to work a little harder to figure it out. Yeah.
If it's hard, it's good for you.
You know, that is true. We tend to get in ruts. I mean, whether it's with our exercise program, we might go out and jog the same path every day for the same amount of time at the same rate, right?
Right.
But you're saying mix it up. And the same goes with if we do crossword puzzles every day.
That's right.
We think, you know, this is going to make us mentally sharp, but maybe we need to change to Sudoku or whatever that's called.
Exactly, because otherwise you'll just get really good at crossword puzzles.
Wow.
Sort of like the exercise, if you just do bicep curls, that's great, but you know, you're going to have huge biceps and the rest of your body won't be fit.
And actually, you know, using exercise kind of as another description of this, they say that you do get more fit when you challenge your body in different ways. So instead of doing, you know,
cross training, that sort of idea, yeah, that works exactly the same way with the brain.
Well, who knew the brain was sort of pliable and plastic and mendable?
I know, that's a funny way of speaking of it. In medicine we say that the brain is plastic, and that's our way of saying that unlike other organs, when it's damaged, other parts of it can take over for what the piece that was damaged used to do. So imagine if you had a heart attack, your liver's not going to jump in and start pumping your blood. But in your brain, if you injure a part of it, you can actually train other parts of the brain to take over and do that function that the other one used to do. And that's why it's exciting to know that you can always teach an old dog new tricks.
Wow, that's great. It's great. It's a positive message.
It's good news.
Yeah, as we all are facing aging eventually, right? Whether we're 2 years right now or, you know, 102.
That's right.
We can always change and get a little bit younger.
That's right.
Mentally. I love that. Yeah, so tell us what goes on in the brain, since you know all the scientific stuff. Tell us what's going on with your brain as far as firing, the different sides, the different portions.
Well, what's interesting, people don't realize that there are different parts of your brain that are responsible for all kinds of different things. So like when you read, you're understanding the words is one part of your brain, processing them is another, speaking to a friend about what you've read is another part of the brain, listening to music, if you're also reading, is another part of the brain, and another part of the brain too for activities. So moving your arm is one part, moving your leg is another, and so that's why it's so important to think of activities that engage all of the different senses, and that helps to stave off memory loss and brain loss.
Okay, so we can do that. And one of the worst areas when you forget is like when you've just been introduced to someone, and they say this is so and so, and then 2 seconds later, oh, I've forgotten their name already.
Yeah.
How do you get through that?
Oh, it's so embarrassing.
It is so embarrassing. And it probably
lot.
happens to all of us. Yeah.
It does. Well, there are tricks that you can do. A lot of people say that when you meet someone, you should think of something that begins with the same letter. So my name is Val, so you might think Val vegetables, and in your mind, imagine carrots and broccoli or something like that. And the next time you see me, you'll remember sort of the carrots and broccoli and say, it starts with a V. Oh, it's Val. So
word association.
Word association can be helpful in terms of memory of particular names.
And if you repeat the name out loud, does that tend to help too?
It can, but you can zone out. It's about being active with your thinking. Yeah.
How helpful is it to, for example, take a new course or read a book or something like that?
Oh, it's great. Every little bit helps, but just like exercise, where is it good to do bicep curls? Yeah, but not just one time and not just one part of your body. It's sort of a constant effort that it takes to sort of daily, do a comprehensive exercise program, and then the same thing, you need a brain exercise program. Now, of course, there's some people out there who say they have these perfect brain games that if you just pay $399.99, you will never have dementia or any memory loss. So I would be a little skeptical of those, because as we know, anything new can trigger new brain cells to grow. It doesn't have to be a specific game. It can be dancing. It can be, whatever is new for you. Taking up swing dancing would be a great thing to do, for example.
All right, and I'm sure what you eat is important too. We didn't get to that, but
yes.
The antioxidants always help, right?
Right. I wish we could stave off memory loss with a blueberry, but
that would
be
nice.
Just a little bit more complicated than that.
Dr. Val Jones, she's a rehabilitation medicine expert in Vienna, Virginia.
Yes.
Good to have you with us today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.